Hi, everyone, and welcome to Patriot One's live year-end earnings call. This is Will Mays from RB Milestone Group. For those of you who aren't already aware, Patriot One Technologies is an emerging disruptor in the stadium and public space security industry and has developed a multi-sensor threat detection platform. The company's shares are traded on the TSX under the symbol PAT and on the OTCQX under the symbol PTOTF. Joining us today is the company's CEO and Director, Peter Evans, and CFO, Karen Hersh. Today's earnings call will include a discussion about the state of the business, fiscal year results, and some of Patriot One's recent milestones. This will be followed by a question and answer session based on questions investors have sent in prior to and during the webcast. And if you're interested in asking a question or logged into the Zoom app or web platform, you can submit your questions directly to us in the Q&A module. This call is being recorded today, October 20th, 2022, and will be available on the company's website shortly after the call. Before we start today's call, I would like to note that all dollars are in Canadian unless otherwise specified. Today's call contains non-IFRS performance measures. These measures do not have any standardized meanings prescribed under IFRS and are therefore not comparable to other reporting issuers. These non-IFRS performance measures are defined within the filed management and discussion and analysis. Today's call may also contain forward-looking statements that are subject to risks and uncertainties that may cause actual results, performance, or developments to differ materially from those contained in the statements and are not guarantees of future performance of the company. No assurance can be given that any of these events anticipated by forward-looking statements will occur, or if they do, what benefits the company will obtain from them. Also, some risks and uncertainties may be out of control of the company. Patriot One has a full disclaimer contained in their presentation. Today's call should be reviewed alongside with the company's fiscal 2022 financial statements, management's discussion and analysis, and earnings press release issued today and available on the company's website and its SEDAR profile. Lastly, RBMG is not a registered investment advisor or a broker-dealer. For more information, please visit rbmilestone.com. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Peter Evans, Chief Executive Officer of Patriot One. Peter, the stage is yours.
Well, thank you, Will, and thank you to all our investors for joining us today. We're very pleased to be reporting our annual results, which are indicative of the growing momentum that we are seeing for the business. Based on strong demand that we've been experiencing, particularly in our fourth quarter, we're very optimistic about the outlook for the business in fiscal 2023. I'd like to start by giving our investors an update on the business overall and some of the key milestones that we've reached throughout the past year. Later, Karen will take time to take us through our annual financial results and some key financial trends that we are seeing as a result of fiscal 2022. The company's experienced incredible growth this past year. In the past year, we have publicly announced numerous contract wins in multiple industries, such as auto manufacturers, sports arenas, and casinos. I'm very happy to share with all our investors that today, we have signed 244% more contract value than this year than in last year in fiscal 2021. What I'm even more excited about, though, is you saw an 837% increase in the value of the contract signed for our platform in the platform operating segment compared to last year. By platform, smart gateways. The majority of these contracts were signed following the release of the smart gateway. As many of our investors know, we designed this product with the direct feedback that we needed to hear from our sports leagues and live entertainment customers and venues, those folks who shared with us the key features and functionalities that they needed from touchless screening technology that they had not experienced previously. Our team did that with a smart gateway, turning around that product in record time. And we're seeing immediate results from the day we announced that and from the making of that investment. We've seen those results both in the final quarter of fiscal 2022 and even more so in the start of fiscal 2023. This is worth repeating. With the announcement and delivery of Smart Gateway, we saw an immediate uptick in orders and revenues, with 66% of our 2022 bookings for the platform occurring in the fourth quarter after delivery of the Smart Gateway. We see this growth trend continuing and accelerating in future quarters. These customer installations represent an important milestone for Patriot One as we work to become the preferred patron screening solution in the initial target market of sports, live entertainment, and other venues. In addition to providing us with this validation from the marketplace about our gateway solutions, these customers have demonstrated in real-world environments exactly how we provide exceptional security and a return on investment to all of our customers. As an example, patrons who attended this year's City Open tennis event would have seen our smart gateway in Washington, D.C., where we unobtrusively screened over 80,000 spectators and employees and athletes over a 9-day period. Having to stop and remove personal items resulting in delays is not an experience that's conducive to the brand of the City Open or ATP tennis overall. I'm very pleased to share that the average wait time throughout the event was less than a minute for anyone entering into the venue, where previously they'd typically experienced about a 2-hour wait time. This is a testament to the design intent of Smart Gateway to be very flexible and align and be able to serve different market opportunities and different market needs and requirements. We designed the Smart Gateway to be very flexible, to work in very temporary environments like the City Open, or for permanent installations, such as the Kia manufacturing plant in Georgia. And Kia, we are protecting all of the entire entrances for all visitors to that facility. We speed in the workers much faster than they previously experienced in an environment where every minute of shift change, downtime, and delay equates to up to $1 million of lost revenues. This is part of our ongoing commitment to provide the fans, patrons, businesses, their employees, and others with world-class safety and security wherever those people gather. In a similar manner, we are excited to be working with the SAP Center and the TechCU Arena out in San Jose. This is the respective homes of the San Jose Sharks and the San Jose Barracuda. And they also host many other live entertainment events throughout the year. The deployment with the San Jose Sharks is particularly exciting to me and a major milestone for us as a company. We're very proud to be the first advanced technology screening provider to be selected and announced in an NHL arena. We've had the pleasure of working with the entire team at SAP throughout our journey with them and throughout with the San Jose Sharks in the past year, as they vetted our technology alongside competitive products. Our product proved to be exactly what they needed to provide both a safe as well as elevated experience, not only for the staff, but also for the spectators themselves. The experience in San Jose is a testament to all the work that we've done in developing the Smart Gateway in response to the market's needs specifically. We believe personally, and as a company, that this win represents the first of many venues that host professional sports teams. We look forward to continuing our work with these professional leagues, those teams, and the arenas and other stadiums to enhance venue security overall and improve and drastically change the experience for their patrons. We're also very happy to be working with the Oakview Group. This organization owns and manages several hundred, over 350 venues globally, including venues like Climate Pledge Arena, home of the NHL Seattle Kraken, UBS Arena, home of the Islanders, and multiple other venues such as the Moody Center in Austin, Texas. Oakview also manages and owns various casinos, convention centers, theaters, arenas, and stadiums globally, such as the Central Bank Center in Kentucky and many others that they manage as part of their OVG 360 organization. Places like the Mayo Civic Center in Minnesota, Total Mortgage Arena in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and in Hamilton, for those of you who are Canadians on the call, in Hamilton, the First Ontario Center. A couple of weeks ago, we were thrilled to announce a major strategic partnership with this organization to enable Oakview Group, otherwise known as OVG, on any OVG owned and operated properties to utilize Patriot One's patron screening solution in a very streamlined manner. This was a culmination of many, many months of work, including multiple rigorous tests and validation of the technology with OVG security professionals, and numerous red teaming events that were run by Prevent Advisors at OVG venues and at events such as the NBA All-Star event that occurred earlier this year in Cleveland. Prevent Advisors is a subsidiary of OVG that works with the NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL, and other sporting organizations to validate technology and best practices for security and assist those venues to build and maintain safe and secure facilities. Their endorsement of us is a major milestone that I'm very proud of. The partnership with OVG will significantly streamline and simplify the buying process with standard terms and conditions for purchase and provide all venues under the OVG umbrella with access to our technology that has been vigorously tested and pre-approved by Oakview Group for use in those venues. In essence, this will streamline the acquisition process by all venues with a solution that's already been tested, already been proven, already been validated, and already together with a standard and approved agreement template, make it very easy for them to purchase versus having to go through that rigorous process themselves individually. We're very confident that this partnership will become a strong catalyst for many new deals with many other Oakview venues. The partnership has already enabled us to deploy in several places that OVG owns or manages on behalf of others, including places like Rupp Arena, the Moody Center, the Lexington Opera House, and the recently announced Angel of the Winds Arena in Everett, Washington. This is the home of the Western Hockey League's Everett Silvertips. We're engaged with multiple other locations as a result of this announcement, and all the venue managers had the opportunity to experience the Smart Gateway in Austin at the Venues Now event. We continue to work daily with OVG and many other of the 400 plus venues that they manage to help them provide their patrons with all of the benefits of safe, fast, and frictionless entry. With these wins from the last fiscal year, and so far from what we've seen in the first quarter of fiscal 2023, it's evident to me that the incredible demand that exists for our platform products and most importantly, the trajectory that we're on now, we have yet to begin to tap into the total addressable market for our product. And as accordingly, I see a huge future growth potential for the business. I also see evidence of this in the size of our sales pipeline, which has more than quadrupled since last year, and we continue to see it growing by about $2 million every month. As we continue to work with customers through the sales cycle, and we continue to see the incredible growth in our sales pipeline, which was about $63 million when we last reported in July. Over the past few quarters, we've significantly increased our customer engagements by attending very focused activities such as conferences, league events such as the NBA All-Star Game that I mentioned earlier, and visiting prospective customers on their premises. These events have allowed us to demonstrate the capabilities of our products and help customers experience the product in their own environment and then help them to design their own security operations. Through these engagements, we create these aha moments for those buying decision makers. As a simple example, the San Jose Sharks organization tested our Smart Gateway first at several concerts at their venue 2 years ago. The team at SAP was able to witness the benefits. All of the executive team was able to witness the benefits, and this started the journey together, which began the process to work through items like risk management, any insurance programs, security operations designs, and these sorts of things to allow them to adopt us with comfort. I mentioned during the last earnings call that a few projected deals that we expected to close in Q3 slipped over to Q4. I'm very pleased to confirm that these deals have closed, and our total backlog of signed agreements and signed contracts at the end of the year is $4.1 million. I also want to make clear that this value does not include those contracts that we've announced so far in fiscal 2023. Looking at the increase in the customer engagement backlog, the pipeline, and these sorts of metrics that we track all the time, I'm very proud of how far we've come in the last year. My outlook for fiscal 2023 is incredibly positive due to all the groundwork that we've laid for the last 18 months and the trajectory that we've experienced in the past quarter and as we start to move into 2023. I look forward to what's to come. I really can't wait to share a lot more of these wins with our investors. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Karen, who can take you through the details of our financial results for 2022.
Thanks, Peter, and hello, everyone. I'm pleased to join you all today and to report our year-end financial results for the company, as well as outline some of the financial highlights and the key milestones that we hit during the year. This past fiscal year has been a record year in terms of revenue growth. We ended the year with $3.6 million of revenue, which is 235% higher than the $1.1 million of revenue recognized last year. Moreover, from our platform operating segment has increased by 582% compared to last year. This is a testament to the increased and focused sales and marketing efforts that our team has undertaken, along with the completion of third-party validation and testing of our products, including the operational exercise performed by NCS4 and SVS countermeasures, both of which were completed during the year. We also continue to work with the Department of Homeland Security to become an approved technology under the Safety Act and expect that this will help shorten our sales cycle for certain customers. But most importantly, we see this increase in revenue as a validation of our smart gateway solution for not only our target market of stadiums, arenas, and live entertainment venues, but also for adjacent markets such as manufacturing, distribution, and healthcare facilities. In fact, almost half of our qualified sales pipeline is from opportunities outside of our original target market. Considering the growth in our backlog and number of signed agreements, along with the strong interest in the market for our products, as evidenced by the growth in our sales pipeline that Peter referred to earlier, we expect that our platform revenue will continue to increase in fiscal 2023, and that the proportion of revenue generated from this operating segment relevant to total revenue will also increase. We have continued to build the company's backlog of sales commitments, which at year end totaled just over 2.2 million, with an additional 1.9 million pending installation of successful trials. This contractual backlog represents revenue that will be recognized in future periods as we fulfill our obligations over the duration of the underlying contracts. While our total contractual backlog balance did not significantly change from last year, the composition of the backlog between platform and extract contracts did. At the end of fiscal 2022, almost 60% of our contractual backlog was from platform agreements compared to 51% in the prior year. In addition to gaining a multitude of new customers in a number of different markets, ranging from stadiums and arenas to casinos to manufacturing plants, we're also seeing follow-on orders from existing customers asking to expand their use of our products with either additional lanes in existing facilities or to further their expansion into other locations. With all the positive feedback we've received from customers in the recent months, we expect several more expansion deployments to take place in 2023 and beyond. The value of our contractual backlog continues to be one of the most important measures of the company's performance. As we sign long-term subscription contracts, revenue is recognized over the term of the contract and will initially sit in our backlog. Today, between 60 to 70% of our platform contracts are done through subscription arrangements. Our revenue and backlog figures in fiscal 2022 reflected some delays in installations due to certain supply chain constraints and other delays during the latter part of the year that have subsequently been resolved. As a result, certain opportunities that we expected would close in the year have slipped into fiscal 2023. Subsequent to the year end, we've since announced a number of these contracts, as Peter mentioned before, SAP Center, Tech CU Arena, and Angel of Winds. Based on the activity that we've seen in the last few months and the recent announced partnership with the Oakview Group, we expect revenue to continue to grow at an accelerated rate in the upcoming quarters. Looking at our expenses now, through fiscal 2022, we continued to be mindful of our operating expenses, which overall have declined dramatically from prior periods. We continue to look for opportunities to reduce non-strategic expenses and to invest in short-term and near-term revenue-generating activities. As Peter and I have already stated, the company remains focused on top-line growth and continues to invest in targeted sales and marketing activities to drive revenue for the business. Accordingly, sales and marketing expenses were $2 million for the year, which is a 34% increase over last year. This increase relates to the company's intensified sales efforts as we work to capitalize on the existing market activity and demand for touchless patron screening solutions. We expect sales and marketing expenses will remain steady or increase slightly as sales activity continues to grow in the upcoming periods. Research and development costs, which is presented net of grants in our financial statements, were $4.5 million for fiscal 2022, representing an increase of 62% compared to last year. But I think we have to look deeper than that and look at the grant money, the R&D expenses before grant funding, which actually declined by 5% relative to 2021. The decrease is primarily attributed to the completion of supercluster projects and other related spending that we did in the early months of 2022. The company continues to invest in very focused R&D activities as we refine, improve, and expand our platform solutions based on our technology roadmap and the feedback that we receive from customers. Loss and comprehensive loss was $39.7 million for the year, which is 140% higher than our $16.6 million loss in fiscal 2021. However, our loss for fiscal 2022 includes $25.6 million relating to a non-cash write-down of our goodwill. This write-down reflects market-wide changes in the cost of debt and general changes in the risks associated with small cap companies when uncertainties exist in the broader market. It's not an indication of significant changes in our expected future performance or growth. Further, we do not believe that this non-cash accounting transaction is something that will be repeated in future years. Excluding this one-time non-cash transaction, adjusted loss and comprehensive loss, which is a non-IFRS performance measure, was $14.1 million. The decrease in this adjusted loss compared to last year's $16.6 million is primarily due to an increase in revenue year over year, partially offset by reduced non-dilutive funding received in fiscal 2022. Finally, basic and diluted loss per share was 26 cents for the year compared to 11 cents at the end of last year. If we exclude the one-time non-cash write-down of goodwill, the adjusted basic and diluted loss per share was 9 cents, which is an improvement of 18% compared to last year. Turning to our cash flow, during the year, the company had negative cash flow of $3.4 million compared to negative cash flow of $12.8 million last year. The cash flow used in operating activities was $9.3 million for the year, which was 21% lower than the $11.7 million cash flow in fiscal 2021. We will continue to manage our cash judiciously in future quarters. In March 2022, we also raised $6.9 million of gross proceeds with the completion of a public offering, providing further capital in support of the company's operations and to drive growth in our backlog of sales and commitments. Excluding the company's financing activities, the company actually reduced its cash burn by 23% relative to fiscal 2021. As the company continues to sign contracts and deploy products at each customer site, we expect that the company's cash burn will continue to improve and subject to decisions to further invest in our expansion plans, which may result in periods of increased rates of cash use. In summary, we're very pleased with the traction that we've made this year, and we're just getting started. We're still early in our commercialization efforts and are focused on customer engagement, providing exceptional customer service, and building a solid backlog of sales commitments. And with that, Peter and I are pleased to answer any questions that investors may have.
Thanks, Peter and Karen. We've received a number of questions from investors while you were speaking. Let's try and answer as many of these as we can in the remainder of time we have. The first question that has come in relates to Patriot One's customer mix. The question is, I would like to know more information about the breakdown of Patriot One's existing contracts between various customer segments. Also, do you anticipate that the customer mix will change in the next 12 to 24 months? Peter, I think you're on mute.
Thank you for that, Will. That's a great question to start off with. I appreciate that and appreciate you letting me know I'm on mute. While we've talked about this on many investor calls before, our primary target when we first decided to go down the path of smart gateway and get very hyper-focused was to chase after arenas, stadiums, and similar live entertainment venues. We do have a number of customers, most of which have fallen into 4 segments. The first of which is those sports, live entertainment, arenas, stadiums, etc. The second is casinos. The third are manufacturing and distribution organizations. And the fourth, let's generally call it government, education, and healthcare, right? Which have very similar kind of buying characteristics. Sports and entertainment makes up about half of our customers at present, and it's approximately half of our sales pipeline also. As Karen mentioned, most of our outbound marketing is geared and targeted towards those companies who operate in those kinds of venues. This is where Smart Gateway has become a perfect fit, right? And again, designed by the customers and built for those customers. However, having said that, we have inbound requests from others in other segments, the other three that I mentioned, right? So we expect our primary market, is going to stay, very hardened and very focused. And probably the bulk of our business will be around these sports and entertainment venues. But we are seeing about 50% of our pipeline from these three other segments. We've had incredible success with those, particularly within the manufacturing and distribution segment, where the customers I mentioned earlier with Kia, where their return on investment is a unique selling point to them. Every minute of downtime or shift change has significant impact and revenue impact for them. So this is a unique selling point for our technology. In recent months, we've engaged with a number of companies in this segment, and we expect a larger proportion of our sales to actually come from these customers and to see that steadily increase over time.
Good. Along the same lines, Peter, the next question is, I hear Patriot One talk about the size of their pipeline and how much it has grown over the last 12 to 18 months. And while it's helpful for this information in order to understand the relative demand for Patriot One's products, it does not adequately help investors understand future sales. Can you share information around Patriot One's win rate as well as the typical length of the sales cycle?
Well, and again, a great question that, as people start to model out our business. Unfortunately, it's not a simple question to answer, right? Or as I expect this investor was kind of hoping for in the nature of that question. The reality is that the win rate, which we think of as a proportion of opportunities that were won actually compared to those that are still in the pipeline or not won, was running about 20% in fiscal 2022. Of those that didn't close, the other 80%, some were lost to competition, but the bulk of them just really had no decision. The customer has not moved through to a decision-making cycle, or they've parked it for a period of time, right? So the customers decide to wait. What really is kind of more promising and more interesting to me, though, is as we've introduced Smart Gateway, we've seen our win rate increase, right? From that 20%, which was, kind of the bulk of 2022, to the last fiscal quarter of the year, it changed and it's much more like about 35% or so. And I don't expect this to change. I attribute this change to the release of Smart Gateway, which again was designed and based on direct customer feedback. And so it's got that perfect aligned fit to them. I expect this trend for the increased close rate, win rate, to remain, and will probably continue to improve over time as we get more and more months and quarters of experience behind us. In terms of the other part of the question, I'm sorry, Will, I forgot you asked the second part, the sales cycle. Right? Again, this truly depends also. For a first-time buyer, the sales cycle can range from a few months or in some cases over a year. This would be the case with over a year for much larger organizations who particularly have very stringent security mandates, right? They've got a very high standard for security and they've got the experience. Think of like a professional sports team or an organization like that. We have some customers who have bought from us a second time, within months, because they've already done their first deployment, it's already been very successful, and they're expanding their business. So they don't have to go through all the trials and demonstration and security operations design work that they had in the first iteration. So when we talk about the pipeline, I think, how quickly the sales cycle could be, and we talk about a sales qualified pipeline of 63 million, right? That pipeline, the good news is it's quadrupled over the last 12 months. So that's good, right? And I think this information is that is going to be indicative of kind of future revenue growth and what we expect to see in terms of that close rate against that pipeline in the next 9 to 12 months. That's not going to all convert over in a month. But over the course of the year, we expect that to convert over.
Great. Well, the next question relates to the company's marketing program. The question is, can you share Patriot One's strategy around marketing? I don't see advertisement on television or buses or other public places. How are you getting the word out?
It's a great question. And for those who know me well, know that I love marketing. I've been the CMO of 4 publicly traded companies, including companies like Dell. So I love the marketing aspects and trying to get the highest efficacy out of the dollars you spend. It's first most important to understand who do you sell to in terms of getting the most bang for your buck out of marketing dollars. Our technology is sold to businesses with the key stakeholders in the decision being like people like the business owner those who are involved in security and operations, chief operating officers, chief security officers, and additionally, those people who track things like the guest experience, okay? So if those are the key personas we're going after in a business-to-business relationship, we have to keep them in mind. As a startup company, you've got a limited number of dollars you can spend on marketing. It isn't an endless pool. So we have to use every dollar very, very judiciously in a targeted manner to make sure those people who are the buyers are the ones who are seeing your story. Business to business marketing is very different than business to consumer marketing. Business to consumer marketing is often very expensive with TV ads, wrapping buses. I can't remember everything else the person said, billboards, advertising in newspapers, radio ads, things like that, advertising in airports. And you're competing when you try and do that amongst all the other noise and clutter of all the other B2C advertisers, hoping that the right person at the right time might happen to be standing on the street corner when the bus goes by, right? Low probability, very expensive, right? And very ineffective unless you've got a lot of dollars to invest. Highly effective B2B marketing starts with understanding who your buyer is and where do they go for trusted insights and information and guidance, right? For example, where does the typical chief security officer go? If he's of a sports arena, sports venue, an auto manufacturer, know where they go and where do they go for trusted insights and advice to solve their problems. Do they go to trade shows? Do they go to tech publications? What do they read? Do they participate in best practices forums with their peers, right? And then what you do is you target those spaces where they go so they hear your message in a very effective manner. That's the best way to get the maximum value for the least spend, right? Which is what we're trying to do as a company. A very simple example. We attended the Venues Now conference, which was attended by 1,000 key decision makers. I was riding up and down the elevator with the owner of one of the hockey teams, right? As he went to his room from the gym, right? All the right people who wanted to talk to were there. The cost of us attending the Venues Now conference was less than the cost of wrapping 2 buses for a week, right? So it's very judicious spend. Not all our investors may experience that spend because they're not experiencing the things the CSOs are doing or going to those places where the CSOs are.
We've had a few questions come in pertaining to future growth outlook. For example, this question is, with the terrible events that continue to occur all throughout the United States, I would be expecting strong demand for Patriot One. What do you expect that growth to look like, and how do you plan to scale and manage that growth?
It's a good question. We get this question very often. And, unfortunately, we do live in a world where threats are growing. And we don't see this changing. We don't see this changing any way at all. Our solution, the good news is our solution is somewhat immune to the ups and downs of the market. For example, we're in a recession right now. During times of recession, there's more crime, right? And as a result of more crime, more people are looking for more security solutions, right? During up markets, right, when the market is doing very, very well, the stock market is doing very, very well, businesses are doing very well, that's the time when they invest in innovation to propel their business forward. So we're somewhat immune to that. So I think we do well in good times and bad times, right? We believe the market for touchless security screening is expansive and it's growing because the security problem will not go away. All of the market data suggests to us that we are playing in a several billion-dollar market, right? And that's not going to go away. And there are industry analysts who we track who tell us that they estimate the global security marketplace is going to grow to about $230 billion by about 2030, right? And that's about a CAGR of 12.9% or so, according to those industry analysts. In terms of the market demand and specific market demand for our solutions, my observation is that the customer interest and demand is only ramping more and more and more every day. And particularly in the last couple of quarters, we've seen a change and a tone in our customers. For the segments that we were not targeting, we would get 2 or 3 inbound calls a month asking about our solution, and they were tire kickers, right? What we're seeing now is 2 or 3 inbound calls a day, as is this accelerated demand, and the tone and the interest has changed. This has moved from tire kickers who are exploring solutions to those who have a budget and are they told us we are going to do something in the next couple of months. So the market demand has changed and the tone of the market demand has changed. And so most people are thinking about either I need to shift from traditional metal detectors to a solution like ours, or I need to consider a solution for the first time in the right play. So I expect the demand to continue growing, right? And to scale that demand, we will judiciously invest in the business at the right time in the right way against certain milestones that we've measured that says we've hit this milestone. Now's the time to add more of this capacity, more of this people, more of this staff. Okay.
Very good. The next question also has to do with future growth. The question is, does Patriot One have any plans to raise additional capital? If so, what would these funds be used for?
Karen, go for it.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. We've had this question a number of times in different iterations. I'm so happy to address it. As we've mentioned on previous calls, we issued a base shelf prospectus back in January of 2022, and this gives us the ability to raise up to $50 million in fund as needed to grow the business. In March, we raised about $7 million through a public offering, and we continue to assess our cash needs against the growth plans that we have. Rest assured, should we decide to go back to the market, in response to the part, what would the funds be used for? I would think we would use the funds to accelerate our business. This means enhancing our sales and marketing and our customer success teams, as well as investing in manufacturing capacity to match the bookings volume that we hope to achieve over the next upcoming quarters.
Very good. And very good. Thanks, Karen. The next question is regarding the share price, Patriot One share price. The question is, with the progress that Patriot One has made over the last 3 to 6 months and your continued reference to strong demand, can you please explain why the share price remains stagnant?
There's no question that the stock price doesn't reflect the significant progress and the value that we've created over the last year. And this is understandably frustrating for shareholders, and it's particularly vexing to me. When I think about where we were a year ago versus even 6 months ago and where we are today and what we've built with our product, our customer base, our experience, our third-party testing that we've done, we've created significant value in the company that's not necessarily reflected in the market. High inflation, rising interest rates, these have certainly taken a toll on the market, and they've particularly hit the tech sector. I think, but despite market conditions, our stock has actually been strong relative to the broader market. In fact, we were actually up 14%, I was just checking today, since the start of the year, where the overall market is down 25 to 30%, and the Russell 2000 also is down. So relative to small cap index and our peer group, our stock has actually outperformed, which shows me that we're doing something right. That being said, I'm sure investors would like to know that we're very focused on the business and supporting our stock price. We're doing this through a number of initiatives, including announcing new contracts and wins when we're able to do so, webinars such as this one, and of course, meetings, presentations, and roadshows with the investment community to drive interest in our story and to broaden our audience and our shareholder base.
Very good. Next question is regarding the competitive landscape. And can you please describe the competitive landscape and how Patriot One technology is differentiated to others in the industry?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think the first thing I'd want to say is I like having competition in the industry. It validates the market need and validates the marketplace. If we were the only provider, I'd be concerned, are we potentially making a mistake? So it's a good thing. And like all industries, having competition means that there's going to be different products that will fit different marketplaces. If I think of the smartphone industry, we've got Google, we've got Apple, we've got, there was BlackBerry. There was a place for everyone, and there's a demand for everyone because everyone has some unique capabilities to them. Our unique capabilities, if I think about the question a little bit here, Will, first off, we focused as a company on detection efficacy first. And that's given us a unique differentiator that not only can we detect the weapons, guns, we can also detect knives. And this is a key requirement of organizations like the NBA, like the NHL, and others. Distribution centers, for example, are also very demanding of this. Major entertainment organizations are very demanding that they have to have knives kept out. And so that is a unique differentiator because of the detection efficacy of our solution as validated by third parties. Secondly, I think that we've listened to our customers and we've developed a solution that has very, flexible aspects to it, right? If they want to use it indoors or outdoors, if they need to move it before and after an event, very simply, very easily, they can do that. We're priced right to the value versus the competition. In the competition, when I look at them, I think the other major differentiator that most excites me is we are primarily a software-driven solution, where the others are more hardware-driven. So they're kind of a one-trick pony. They really can only do what they do, and they don't have much of a future, as I see it, as a person who's born and raised in the software world. So as customers come to us and start bringing interesting ideas to us, once we've established incumbency, and they start saying, can you do X? Can you do Y? Can you do Z with your software? The answer is yes. And we will judiciously look at those opportunities and create layers of incremental revenue value and value for our shareholders with increased revenue streams layered on top of our existing platform. So I see this both from a technical point of view as where we think we beat the competition, but also from long-term value for creating shareholder value for those who invest in our company.
Great. Well, we're coming up on time here, Peter and Karen. So is there, before the call ends, is there anything else you'd like to leave the viewers with today?
Well, I think, from my point of view, the first thing I'd like to say is, look, thank you to everyone who's attended, right? This has been, it's been a pleasure to work with our investor group. It's been a pleasure to work with this company and pleasure to work with our customers. And we're going to continue to do so and deliver value. We've seen great, incredible growth in the businesses here. We've hit some major milestones that we set out for ourselves, right? We're particularly pleased with how we're performing in the platform segment of the business and the incredible growth that we've seen post the launch of the Smart Gateway. And we're working hard to capitalize on this immense kind of market opportunity that we see in front of us. Considering the progress that we have made this year, the recent partnership with the Oakview Group and the potential and that offers us, we're feeling really good about the trajectory we're on. I personally feel very, very strongly about where we are right now. We've seen a dramatic increase in our sales pipeline and opportunities in those sports entertainment industries, as well as those others that we originally weren't targeting, such as manufacturing and distribution. We continue to modernize the physical security industry by leveraging the power of what we've done in creating a proprietary solution that delivers the highest security efficacy combined with the best patron experience in those integrated solutions. At the end of the day, we're providing a lot of value to our customers. We provide a lot of value to our customers as we take them along this journey. My last thought here is I want to remind all of our shareholders, that we will be holding our annual general meeting on Thursday, November 17th, 2022, in person in Vancouver, British Columbia. Details about the meeting, how people can attend, how to vote, right? That can all be found in our information circular that was mailed to shareholders or can be found on SEDAR. And, we hope that everyone will take the time to vote as a result. We thank everyone for joining this call today. We look forward to speaking with everybody soon, and particularly after when we report the results of the first quarter.
Well, thanks, Peter and Karen, and thank you again to everyone for joining today's earnings call. The recording for today's call will soon be made available on Patriot One's website. If you have any additional questions that have not been addressed on this call, please feel free to email us at patriot1@rbmilestone.com. Again, that's patriot, the numeral 1, at rbmilestone.com. This concludes today's call. I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you.